Hey everybody, it's me Audrey. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to this channel. And if you've been watching thus far, I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. So I want to talk a little bit about self-sabotage. I want to talk about what it is, and I want to share 2 ways that you can begin to heal from self-sabotage. Okay? And so self-sabotage is a fear-fueled control strategy employed to prevent assumed disappointment, avoid the risk of familiar pain, or resisting intimidating success. Self-sabotage is rooted in fear and depends on fear to survive. Okay, so it thrives on fear. This fear of what could happen, this fear of what you're assuming is going to happen. A lot of us, we want to avoid risking going through a painful situation again. And we do whatever we can to not experience that pain again. We talk ourselves out of doing something that could be very good for us. But because of an experience that we had, or because of something that someone said to us, maybe someone made negative comments to us, maybe someone tried to talk us out of doing something that we really wanted to do. And maybe those words, maybe they said that, oh, you're too old to do this. They may have said things like, well, you're not really qualified for this. Or you may have even had been bullied. You can take it back to even being in your childhood and having these childhood memories of being bullied by other people. Maybe you were about to take a leap and join the basketball team, or you were going to try out for a role in the school play, anything like that. But someone made a negative comment saying, oh, you're not pretty enough, or you don't really sing that well. And you begin to rehearse those words over and over again. Or maybe you struggled in school, and when it came time to take tests, you just completely blanked out and you failed. And you might have studied and did the best that you could, but you still ended up failing. And so these thoughts enter your mind, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. And then you begin to let those negative comments or let those negative actions from others, or even thoughts that you placed on yourself, thoughts that the enemy have placed on you, into your mind, and cause you to believe the lies, to believe and rehearse those lies over and over and over in your head. And that is what's keeping you stagnant. And that's what's holding you back from actually moving forward and doing the things that you really want to do in your heart, but that fear is gripping you. It's those things that's holding you back from doing what God called you or wants you to do, because of self-sabotage. You're rehearsing the negative words of others. You're rehearsing the negative words and actions of the enemy, and negative words and actions from yourself. Negative self-talk. Okay? And I'm talking about this because this is something that I've dealt with all of my life. And God has brought this to the light. He has taken the blinders off of my eyes, and I can be open about it. And so that's why I'm going to talk about, there's 2 things that must take place in order to go down the road of healing, in order to be truly free from self-sabotage. Okay? Once again, self-sabotage is a fear-fueled control strategy employed to prevent assumed disappointment, Avoid the risk of familiar pain or resisting intimidating success. Intimidating. You're afraid of it. Maybe it's something that you've never done before and you really want to do it, but you've never done it before. So it's intimidating. It looks like it's challenging. It looks like it's hard to do. So it intimidates you. And so you run this risk of not going forth and doing what you really want to do, what you could really be called to do. But because of those negative words and actions, you hold back. And that's fear. It's all rooted in fear. Fear has been my whole entire life. And this is, the thing that I struggle with the most in life. And God is still working in me. He's still cutting away of all the dead things a little at a time as I go through this process of sanctification. And God is bringing all these things to the light, and I am not ashamed of it. And I am not ashamed to talk about it. Okay? And so self-sabotage is real. It's detrimental to you. It's detrimental to your future. Stripping you of the opportunity of going forth and doing what you truly desire to do in your heart. Stripping you of walking in your calling that God has already predestined you. And I think about Moses because this is exactly what Moses did. When people who self-sabotage, they come up with all kinds of excuses as to why they shouldn't do it. They shouldn't try out for the school play. They shouldn't apply for that new job. They shouldn't reach out to their loved one to reconnect, to rebuild a relationship. They shouldn't accept that person's invitation to go out on a dinner date. They come up with all the reasons why. And they want to do things. They want to be successful. They want to go forth. But they're afraid to take that step. Afraid of what could happen. Afraid of failing. Yeah. So that's what self-sabotage does. So number one thing to do when it comes to healing from self-sabotage is to be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. I always say that healing starts with honesty. And the thing is, you might as well just go ahead and be honest anyways, because God already knows what's going on with you. He knows what's in your heart and he knows what's in your mind. So it's good to just be honest. There's so much freedom that comes with being honest, being transparent and open with God. There's so much freedom that comes with that. And so be honest with yourself about yourself. There is no shame in that. No shame in being honest. You're being open, you're being raw, you're being your true self when you be open and honest about yourself, the truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Just be honest about it all. There's freedom that comes with honesty. And it's a form of humility as well. When you're able to be honest with yourself and say, okay, I see that I have a problem with this. This is an issue for me. This is something that I'm dealing with. So we have to come to that acknowledgement and understand that this is an issue. This is a problem, and I don't want to continue to deal with this. I don't want to continue to fall into this sin. I don't want to continue to fall into this negative mindset. I don't want to continue to fall into this trap. So When we're open and honest with God, then, and we're serious about it, God will come through. He will begin to change our heart and our minds. And that leads me to the second one. Continue your conversation of honesty with God. So be honest with yourself. Come to the acknowledgement that this is a problem for you. And then you take that to God. The Bible tells us to cast all of your cares and fears on Him, on God, because He cares for you. The Bible tells us not to worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Philippians 4:6. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace. His peace that surpasses all understanding. Okay, and that peace will rule in your hearts. So those are the two things. You be honest with yourself and be honest with God. Go and talk to God. Pour your heart out to God. It's not like He doesn't know, but He wants to see that you know. He wants you to finally come to the acknowledgement of the truth. The Bible says that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Okay? So that's it. That's all I want to share. Take care.